Letting go of toxic people isn't punishment, it's preparation. The first step in calling in your divine counterpart isn't about finding them. It's about clearing the space where love will land. Get ready as I talk about my first few months out of a really bad breakup from a narcissist and why that was really the fertile ground for me to clear the space for my divine counterpart. Because it wasn't in dating apps, it wasn't in having more game than them or outsmarting them. It was actually clearing the space to let them into my life and to allow them into my life, because there was a part of me that in those first initial months after getting out of that narcissistic relationship, I wouldn't have recognized my divine counterpart when he came into my life. Why? Because I was used to chaos. I was used to chasing love. I was used to never feeling safe. Feeling safe was a foreign feeling to me. And in fact, it was an uncomfortable feeling to me. So I probably would have thought that my divine counterpart, who's now my husband, was boring. And if this is you and you can relate, you might want to settle in and listen, because Big Sis is here to give you some advice. In the first 2 chapters of my book, I talk all about very intentional steps to clear the space for your divine counterpart. And that is not getting really shrewd at dating apps and leveling up in your appearance. No, it is, number 1, getting rid of toxic people. Getting rid of the energy vampires, the people that are siphoning your energy, that have evil eye energy towards you. They don't want to see you win. They're jealous of you. They're in competition with you. They liked you when you were small like them. They liked you when you were on the struggle bus with them. And the minute you start leveling up and healing, because don't get it twisted, healing is leveling up. Healing is surpassing them. And I'm not trying to be egotistical about this. It just is. When you heal, you unlock the portals to your greatest life. So when you read my book and as you start healing, you're going to see people around you that don't like that. And those are people that were comfortable and happy when you were down in the dumps with them, when you were desperate, when you were chasing love, when you were depressed, when you were hopeless, just like them. And the minute you start to recognize that it's the people around you that are keeping you that way, it's the people around you that are in a victim mentality and are now keeping you in a victim mentality. When you go to lunch with them, all they do is complain about their life. All they do is complain about how life and everyone else has victimized them. They're not talking about projects they're doing. They're not talking about things they're learning about themselves or ways that they're pouring back into themselves. They're complaining about their lives. So when you're around that energy, you have no choice but to reflect on all the ways that you've been victimized, all the ways that you're in a low station in life. And it's just energy. Energy will absolutely rub off on you. And not to mention, these people that are energy vampires will quite literally block you from meeting your person. Why is that? Because their evil eye directed towards you will quite literally block the abundance of love and generosity that a divine union brings. And so you have to get really clear on who are the energy vampires, who are the toxic people in your life. And you got to say no. In many cases, they take themselves out because energy is a real thing and they will start to sense that you are not on the same energetic frequency. And this sounds egotistical, but this is just the way that it is. Darkness is repelled by light. So as you lighten up and as your life gets better and happier and you are emanating more light, you are going to repel the ones that are stuck in the victim mentality and stuck in the darkness. So when I went through my healing journey, I started to recognize a lot of people in my life were the aforementioned things. And this wasn't just friends. This wasn't lovers. This was people that I worked with. These were bosses. These were people that I was allowing to disrespect me, that I was not sticking up for myself. I was people pleasing. I was just trying to be the easy one. I was trying to be amenable to everybody. And I had to get really fierce about protecting my spaces and the people in them. And if people couldn't come correct and match the high frequency that I was emitting and they were disrespectful and they didn't actually want my happiness or love, I let them take themselves out. Or I distanced myself. Or I finally stood up to the boss that was bullying me. Secondly, you're going to have to pour into yourself. Once you get rid of the energy vampires, it's going to be crickets. And you're going to be like, I have no one to validate me. And if I'm guessing correctly, this is going to be really uncomfortable for you because you've probably relied on people to validate you, to make you feel like you're lovable. And so all of a sudden now all the energy vampires and the users and the haters are gone. And it's real lonely. It's dead ass boring. And you have no one to validate you. And you can start to spiral. And so this is why you do step 2 that I talk about in my book, where you now pour into yourself. You tend to yourself. What are the things you like to do? I would venture to guess you don't even know what they are. I didn't know what I liked to do because for so long I had been centering men. And when I would go out with friends, I would do whatever they wanted to do, which was usually going to bars, getting male attention, or, utilizing alcohol or other methods to numb myself. And so all of a sudden I had to figure out, what do I actually want to do? What do I like to do? And in my book, I give you very tangible steps on how to figure out what it is that you like to do. I talk about going back to your childhood and looking at the things you did as a child. That will inform you as to what your passions are. But once you get rid of the energy vampires, you're going to have a vacuum in your life now of energy that is just swirling around, ready to be put into something, ready to be focused on something. And unless you want to go crazy, and how you stop yourself from going back into the patterns with the users and the takers and the energy vampires is you start tending to yourself. You start figuring out the things that you love to do, and you start doing them alone. And at first it's really scary and it's boring because you're like, oh, I'm just going to sit here and have a conversation with myself. This is great. Cool. You're so used to chaos. You almost crave chaos because it's what you've always known and it's how you felt safe. I'd venture to guess that when you were a kid, your life was pretty chaotic. So guess what? You're going to try to recreate that your whole life because it's very paradoxical and it's counterintuitive, but it's all that you know. So you're going to be around chaotic friends. You're going to be around people that don't make you feel good so that you can continue to stoke the familiarity of chaos and being unchosen and chasing love. But now you're going to have to get real clear on, okay, I don't want those people in my life anymore. I don't want that chaotic energy in my life anymore. So what am I going to do now with this empty space and this empty energy? I'm going to pour back into myself and I'm going to do simple things that I love. And at first, it's going to be really damn uncomfortable. And at first, I'm going to want to squirm out of my skin because it's going to be so damn uncomfortable, but I'm going to do it. And pretty soon, you will see the more you pour into yourself, the more you distance yourself from energy vampires and takers and haters, all of a sudden now you love your company. In fact, your bar is really high for people now because you have given to yourself all of the love and care and tending to that you've been looking to all the users and takers and energy vampires to give to you for so long. You're giving it to yourself. So now the benchmark is really high for people you allow into your sphere because you're giving yourself such luscious good energy and love that if people don't give that same thing to you, they're out. The bar is very high for what you expect and what you will or will not tolerate. And I'm not going to lie to you and sugarcoat this process. It's not easy. Your circle gets real small. I went from a huge group of girlfriends to one best friend. But when I go out with that best friend, she hypes me, gasses me up. She's serious and sincere about it. She's not saying it to my face and then talking about me behind my back. She truly loves me and gasses me up. She's been with me through all of the hardest moments of my life. And she's tried and true. So the circle gets real small, but I'm telling you, when you have people around you that wish the best for you, that are not secret haters, now all of a sudden you're cultivating this glorious aura and energy of love, not only for yourself, but the people around you are giving it to you. And it is magnetic and it emanates love and it pulls love to you, the best kind of love, a divine union kind of love. I talk all about this in 14 Days to Divine Union, where I guide you step by step through releasing the chaos, reconnecting to who you are, and becoming magnetic to the love you deserve. If this message resonated with you, go to the link in my bio and join the list to get early access to the book, behind the scenes content, and the first chapter free. Your path to divine union starts with coming home to yourself.